What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the newest episode of Nerd Vibes. Episode 2. Everybody like, comment, subscribe, leave ratings, reviews. It really helps out the podcast and it also helps me improve. Follow Arm Dark Mamba on all social medias. Super easy. Google Arm Dark Mamba, all one word. I'm the only thing that comes up, so you'll be able to find me real easy. Anyway, on this episode, we are going to do the Media Minute. We're going to be talking about some of the stuff I've been watching, reading this week. Then we're going to get into the one big thing, Joker, Folie à Deux, and I'll give you guys my thoughts on that. I saw the movie. We'll talk about it. And then we're going to finish up with the look ahead. I'm looking forward to things that I'm going to be watching, reading, and consuming coming up in the next couple of episodes. So things that we'll be talking about. First thing I do want to talk about is something not related to the podcast at all, but I started this course on creativity and how to bring out my creativity and how to better manifest my ideas and just the creative juices to unblock myself so that we can have better ideas flowing and more things coming along. So as that process progresses, I might be giving you guys some updates, maybe, but it is a course that I'm really excited about to help me with my creativity and to help me with my mental block in terms of feeling certain ways about all the stuff that I'm doing right now. So that's really exciting. Just the IRL kind of personal thing I wanted to share with you guys. Audience, something that I'm looking forward to and that I'm going to be doing to hopefully improve the content over time. So let's get into Media Minute. First thing I want to talk about is the new anime premieres this week because they were all hits, no misses. First thing I want to talk about, Bleach, Thousand Year Blood War. The first episode was really, really good. We had, not introduction, but the reintroduction of some characters from Squad Zero. There's going to be spoilers all throughout this just because if you're not caught up, please catch up. That's why we do the look ahead so you guys can watch ahead and know what we're talking about on the next episode. We got some recycled footage from the last episode of last season, which was fine, but it's put there to orient us into the new episode and everything like that, and then it just builds on that. We got Ichibe's Bankai, which was crazy. I don't remember the other girl's name in Squad Zero, but her Bankai was really, really cool until it wasn't. But we got Yuhaba. He unlocked his power. He turned up. It was a great introduction to the newest season. And then it seems like in the next episode, we're going to get some Ichigo action. We're going to get Uryu fighting, which is also one of my favorite characters in Bleach. It's Ichigo, Uryu, and then Grimmjow. But we don't talk about Grimmjow right now because he's not in the show. But Grimmjow Jaggerjack, one of my favorite characters in Bleach. Next show I want to talk about is My Hero Academia. That episode was hoping for in terms of what we saw from the last episode to this one. I feel like this one was like a filler episode. It was very emotional. It was basically the entire episode was a long interaction coupled with flashbacks and the telling of emotions and stuff between Toga, the lead villain, who is right now impersonating Twice and doing the Sad Man's Parade, turned into Sad Man's Legion. I believe I'm getting that name right of that technique. And then we had Ochako Raka. I believe that's her name. I always have trouble pronouncing her name because there's so many letters that are the same next to each other. But Ochako is what I call her. That's the easier of her two names. Basically, they had a very long-winded fight conversation. She hit Toga with the Talk No Jutsu to make it so her power dissipated, and she wasn't able to fully complete what she was trying to do with the Dead Legion. Ochako did get stabbed by Toga, but she seems fine. Like I said, it wasn't the episode that I was looking forward to. I was hoping that this episode was going to be All Might and the start of the All Might and the All for One fight. That's going to be next episode, so we'll talk about that. But this episode didn't disappoint. It had a lot of emotional moments. There was some action, but these two characters in particular that were the main focus of this episode were not my favorite. So this wasn't my favorite episode, but it was a really, really good episode, an emotional episode, but it just wasn't my favorite. but it was still good. The next thing I want to talk about, Blue Lock. I just got done watching the episode. Amazing. We got introduced to a bunch of new characters in this season. Our main character is fighting to become the best striker in Japan in soccer. Right now, they just got split into teams. The top 6 are in one side and then everybody else. And they're trying out to make the team to go against the under 20 Japan team, all that. Right now, nothing really happened in the episode to speak about. It was more so introducing us to the new characters and the current characters that we're familiar with, trying to decide what team they're going to join for the tryout. They can go forward and be part of the Japanese team. So nothing really happened, but it was great to be back with our characters. Like I said, Isagi. We got Chigiri, which I like. I like that character because he's really, really fast. I can't Bachida, something like that. That guy. I like that guy too because he's just kind of wild, crazy. And then Nagi. I have Nagi as my screensaver on my computer. That's one of my favorite characters, just because he's so agile and he can just do crazy things with the ball. He was in the top 6, so he doesn't have to necessarily worry about not making the team, but he could get his spot taken. So it was nice to see that one of my favorite characters was in the top 6. Our main character, Iggy, he was never really going to be in the top 6 because his whole story is him being an underdog, and it wouldn't make sense for his character arc for him to be in the top 6 because his character needs to be the one that's chasing the other top players. So I knew that he wasn't going to be in the top 6. And he would have to get it out the mud, so to speak, because that's just been his character from the start, from the beginning. And I like that about him. I like that Isagi is the one doing the chasing, and we don't have a main character that is already the most decorated, already all those things that makes him superior to everybody else. I like main characters that have to learn and adapt to get to their respective destination. And then last thing I want to talk about in the media minute, which is longer than a minute, is I finished the first volume of Tank Man. It was very, very good. The last chapter, which when I recorded the last episode, I wasn't quite finished. I had one more chapter yet left, but the last chapter was really, really good. Our main character did get hurt for the first time in this volume. His sister was put in danger again. He was able to overcome, but at the end of that, he realized, hey, I need to do more so that I can be more. And where I'm at right now is not going to be good enough for our situation going forward. So the next thing I'm going to be reading, we'll talk about in the look ahead, because I have a couple of things that I'm going to be reading going forward, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. So that's going to be it for the media minute. Next, we are going to talk about Joker 2, Oleadu. And if I sound not excited about it, you'll see why in the next segment. All right, let's get into one big thing. Joker 2, Oleadu, which roughly translates into Madness for 2. And unfortunately, that's where the madness stops at the title. Just to let you guys know, full spoilers for Joker 2, and I hope you can hear the absolute disappointment in my voice, because that's what this movie was. An absolute disappointment. We talked about Joker 1 on the last episode, how cinematically it was really, really good. The acting was great by Joaquin Phoenix. The tone, everything that they were talking about, the societal factors and those things in Joker 1 is what made it a really great movie. And just to backtrack, my anticipation for this movie, it was going to be a continuation. I thought that Joaquin Phoenix's portrayal of the Joker was going to go further and further into that Joker persona. I thought the addition of the Lady Gaga character, Harley Quinn, was also going to aid that transition into the Joker, as well as us getting the transition of Harley Quinn, or Lee, as she was called in the movie, transitioning into that Harley Quinn character right alongside him. What we got was the opposite of that. It was terrible. It was not a good movie. It was 2 hours and 20 minutes of straight garbage. Hot, steamy garbage is what we got. And I don't take anything away from Joaquin Phoenix. The performance that he put on in this movie was amazing, phenomenal. He did a great job for what he was asked to do. Lady Gaga, she did a great job, phenomenal in what she was asked to do. This movie was not good. The musical numbers, we're going to talk about the characters first. Joker never fully actualized. In fact, they reversed course on the Joker character. And I'll get back to that in a minute. The Harley Quinn character never fully realized at all in any real meaningful way. Harvey Dent, the attorney, I thought was really good, but if you didn't know the history of Harvey Dent as a character, he's a bland character. He's just another lawyer in the courtroom. Shout out to Puddles, the actor who played Puddles. That was a very emotional moment. One of the best moments in the movie was when, in the first movie, one of the people that the Joker kills is the boss of his boss and the boss of this character, Puddles. But he kills the boss in front of Puddles. And Puddles gets on the stand and he actually describes to the Joker, or the Arthur Fleck, whatever you want to call him. All right, so Puddles was on the stand detailing to the Joker the after effects of what his killing in front of him did to him. He said, I wasn't afraid before. I'm afraid all the time now. I can't sleep anymore. He started crying. It was a very emotional moment. And the Joker in that moment became humanized, and he started to feel emotional for his former friend Puddles. So he was trying to reason with him and tell him, like, hey, I did it for you, and I didn't hurt you. You should be fine. I did something for us. Our boss was a bully. Our boss didn't. I did that for us, and I could have killed you, and I didn't. So he was trying to be like I'm the good guy here in that situation. But that was one of the best moments. There wasn't many good ones. Let's get to the. This is a very hard. I don't like critiquing things badly. This is a bad movie. It was just bad. And I went on Rotten Tomatoes after the movie to see maybe I missed something. Maybe I didn't get the artistic viewpoint of what the movie was trying to say. Nope. Didn't miss anything. Everybody, the critics were saying the same thing. Audience goers were saying the same thing. All over social media, people were saying the same thing. I can count on one hand the amount of positive reviews that across all of those platforms that I saw, and that's too many, to be honest. The musical numbers were not very good. It felt like they sang the same song multiple times. The musical aspects didn't progress the story forward in any way, so it made the musical aspect of the movie kind of not really needed. It wasn't additive to the story. Like I said, it didn't move the plot forward. There wasn't really any musical numbers where they really sing, if that makes sense. It was more so like a mumble kind of whisper singing that was very low. There was one musical number towards the end of the movie where Lady Gaga actually got to use her voice and some of her actual performing talent. But other than that, every time she sang, it wasn't worth it in terms of the story arc. It just wasn't. They could have made this entire movie without the musical aspects, and it still would have been the same movie. It still would have been garbage, but the musical aspects stole momentum from certain scenes. You feel like you're getting somewhere with these characters, and then out of nowhere, there's a musical number that doesn't progress the story, doesn't move anything forward, doesn't tell you about any of the characters involved in the musical number. So it literally did nothing for me. I was excited for that aspect because they had a performer like Lady Gaga in there, and they just didn't let her cook. They just didn't. Which there were interviews after the fact saying, where she was saying, I felt like I wasn't done with the Harley Quinn character, and that's why she made a whole album for the movie, because she felt like she had more to say as the Harley Quinn character. And I felt like the movie was made for no other reason than they had to. The first movie grossed over $1 billion. It was a huge success. They weren't necessarily expecting it to be so successful, but it was. And I just missed the mark. Times that the movie didn't know what it wanted to say about itself. Whereas the first movie had a very clear direction, a very clear message, a very clear, this is what this movie is about. And as I said in the first movie, they could have made that movie without it being a Joker movie, and it would have been the same movie. The same could have been said with this movie. They could have made the same movie without it being labeled as the Joker, and it could have been the same movie. But unfortunately, this is what we got. As far as the movie goes, it was largely a courtroom drama dealing with the events of the first movie, where the Joker character is in court facing standing trial for his crimes. That fell flat. The courtroom aspect of it wasn't intriguing enough to hold my attention. And then the other scenes would basically be him going back and forth from the courtroom to the prison. There was a rape scene in there, or an alluded rape scene in there, where our Joker character gets alludes to a sexual assault at one point towards the end of the movie. We also see an unnecessary murder of another inmate just for no reason. It didn't push the plot forward at all. That character dying had no reason to die. There wasn't anything that came from his death. There was nobody that got punished. There was nobody that got propelled to do something because of that. It was just unnecessary. There was kind of choices made. At one point, fires his lawyer and decides, hey, I'm going to represent myself. Where when that happened in the movie, I was excited. I was like, okay, we go. We're going to get full Joker now. Because the next couple of scenes, he showed up in the courtroom, full Joker makeup. He's got the suit on from the first movie. He's ready to go. When he's doing his cross-examination of Puddles, as I was telling you earlier, he's in full makeup. He's doing a voice, foghorn, leghorn voice kind of thing, if you know, the throwback Looney Tunes. So I'm turned to my wife no less than 3 times in this movie and was like, okay, about to go. He's about to go. He's about to be Joker now. And the moment that you're waiting for in the movie just never comes. It's never there. He never is fully actualized as a Joker. And that's what I meant earlier when I was saying we'll get back to it. Because the crux of the movie is him being on trial for his crimes as the Joker. His lawyer, before she was fired, was trying to make the defense that because of the circumstances and everything surrounding it, he had a mental breakdown. And essentially, these killings were while he was, in a mental state where he wasn't stable. They were basically trying to argue that he did these killings, he blacked out, he doesn't remember them, he doesn't, these kinds of things. He fired his lawyer. I thought that he was just going to fully lean into the Joker persona, and he was going to just be his version of the Joker, is what I thought. That just never happened. It just never happened. And you get to the end of the movie. I know I'm moving kind of fast, but I have some other things that I want to talk about. You get to the end of the movie here, and he's in the courtroom. He's about to get his verdict for his crimes. And the side of the courtroom blows up. Big hole. You get the Harvey Dent. You get which this made me mad too. Half of his face is burned. And if you know Dent, he turns into the villain Two-Face. So there's kind of an Easter egg there that's never going to be fleshed out. And he gets out of the courtroom. And this is where I'm like, okay, this is the last time I turned over and was like, this is it. It's towards the end of the movie. So I'm thinking, hey, Harley broke him out. They're about to be on the run together. Here we go. Joker, Harley Quinn. We're about to get some shenanigans right before the movie's about to end. And this is going to be great. Nope. Not what happened. Disappointment. Again. He gets picked up by some randos. And he basically just freaks out because they're like, you're the Joker, man. You're the Joker. And he just got done earlier, in a couple scenes earlier, renouncing the Joker persona. He's not the Joker. I don't want to be that. I regret everything I did. And I'm sorry, basically. Which blew my mind as a fan of the first movie. Because he had it. It was there. Everything was there. All he needed to do was to complete the transition to the Joker. This is a great movie. Okay, all we needed was Harley to finish the transition into Harley Quinn, which she never started. And this is a great movie. You needed the musical numbers to actually propel the story forward and tell us things about our characters. This could have been a great movie. None of those things happened. So we get to the end of the movie. This is the controversy that has been talked about by multiple people. Our Joker character, Arthur Fleck, Joaquin Phoenix, at the end of the movie, he got caught from when he left the courthouse and was on the run. He got caught and is back in prison. He gets a visitor, okay? He's walking to meet this visitor. Another inmate comes up to him and says, "Hey, I'm a joke. It's long-winded. I don't remember the whole thing." He shanks him a bunch of times in the stomach and tells him, "This is what you deserve," okay? Joker character dies at the end of this movie. Spoiler alert. Said it earlier. And then the person who killed him proceeds to cut sides of his mouth, just like our Heath Ledger Joker that I had alluded to in the first movie. So at the end of the movie, we get no Joker, we get no Harley Quinn, and we get a mystery of, was that even the Joker in the first place? Or was just some mentally unstable guy who killed a bunch of people for no apparent reason? What do we get? This is the whole point of the second movie. Because if you guys can tell me, I would love to know. But I still don't know what the point was. Why was it a musical? Why was it a courtroom drama? Why did we never get the actual Joker character? You know, those are the things that left me kind of salty, honestly. You know, left the movie, I was very upset that I had spent the amount of money that I spent for this movie going experience. I did the whole thing. We got the tickets with the reclining chairs, you know what I'm saying? We were leaning back, we were having fun watching the movie. We got a jalapeno cheddar pretzel. You know, I've got some French fries. She got a glass of wine. I had a Coke Zero. We had our candy. We were ready for this movie experience to be good. Okay? Of the actual movie, can I just say, side note, the movie theater, they never turned the lights off. It was weird. Just a side note, not going to name the movie theater, but they never turned the lights off in the movie. And we were just watching a movie in a dimly lit room, not a dimly lit room, which contributed to the overall terrible movie going experience that I had with this movie. Okay, I do want to say there are some positives about this movie. I will say Joaquin Phoenix did a great job. Lady Gaga did a great job. For what they were given, they did a great job. The guards in the prison, they were funny. They were provided some kind of convenient pushes to kind of the story forward a little bit, so that was okay. So the characters in the movie did well with what they were given. My main complaint with the movie is that the movie was never going to work in the first place because we never actually got the characters we were going to see. I went there to see Arthur Fleck fully transition into Joker. I went there to see Harley Quinn fully transition to Harley Quinn. And neither one of those things happened. So, for the review of this movie, I do a scale out of 5. Okay? Just simply for the performances, score of the movie, not the musical numbers, the actual soundtrack of the movie, like the score. I'm going to give this movie a 2 out of 5. Okay? I don't want to leave you guys with just a scathing review and not tell you how I would have made the movie better, because I feel like I had some great ideas. Okay? One of which, first off, we get a fully realized Joker and a fully realized Harley Quinn. Okay? The way that I would have portrayed this is throughout the movie, right? We have Harley Quinn going to the courtroom to sit and watch the trial that the Joker's on. What I would have done is I would have had the Joker and Harley Quinn slowly throughout the movie transition into their characters. And what would have signified this is in the movie, Harley Quinn starts sitting in the back of the courtroom during the first day. She slowly starts getting a better and closer seat as the movie goes on, where at the end, she's sitting right behind Joker. Okay? What I would have done is I would have started her out in the back with, you know, regular whatever she was wearing. And as she slowly moved up and got better and better seats, she slowly started to transition into that Harley Quinn character, or whatever that looked like for the world, which would have been makeup, the red and black clothing, the, I don't know, maybe the hammer that she usually has, or something like that. Something that would have signified her transitioning into the Harley Quinn character. And the same thing with Joker, Arthur Fleck. I would have had him on the various different court dates add something that is Joker attire. Maybe he starts out with a tie, and then he comes with a suit, and then he comes with partial Joker makeup, and then on that last day or last subsequent days, he's fully Joker makeup, and he's fully adopted the persona. I would have had the ending scene where the courtroom blows up. I would have had that be Harley initiated as opposed to it being initiated by some random street thugs. I would have had Harley pick up the Joker and they do some sort of, either they run together and in the movie, and it's just an ambiguous ending on if they got caught or if they're rampaging, if they went to a different city, whatever it is. But I would have had them basically ride out into the sunset or go on a mini rampage and ended it if they would have done a mini rampage, whether they got caught and killed or they got caught and to prison or whatever the case may be. But I would have preferred them to be their fully actualized characters and then go on a mini rampage. It would have been my ideal situation. I would have taken the music, the musical numbers. I would have shown through the musical numbers the transitions between Lee and Harley Quinn, from Lee to the Harley Quinn character, and Arthur Fleck transitioning fully into the Joker character is what I would have used the musical numbers to do. I would have actually had the musical numbers push the narrative forward, push our characters forward, and also have it be something that explains their mindset. None of those musical numbers did that. I also would have taken out some stuff, like the perceived sexual assault, unnecessary in the movie, to be honest. The other prisoner that was murdered, completely unnecessary. Didn't need to happen. It was really weird. I would have taken both of those things out. I would have taken out a lot of the prison scenes that were in there and would have maybe played with Harley Quinn's origin a little bit more. They started out with her having a similar story to Arthur Fleck, which then only later turned out to be a lie. And she actually had the similar, if not the same, backstory from the comics, which is from an affluent family, and she is in school and she's doing a sort of degree like that, which is what they ended up going with, which was kind of weird because they just basically made her character lie to the Joker to gain his trust and then only to break his trust later. So that didn't necessarily make sense to me at all. But I do want to say I had hoped that this movie was going to be better, and it wasn't. It really just wasn't, and I'm very disappointed in the amount of time that I spent watching this movie, and I'm very disappointed with the filmmaker basically undoing everything he did in the first movie with the second movie. It felt like at the end of the movie that he basically made the movie to undo the goodwill that he had attained from the first movie, and it was basically, in my opinion, a big due to the fans. And that's how I felt. I felt taken advantage of as a moviegoer, as a person who invested time and money into this movie. I felt like I was taken advantage of. And that's kind of you never want to feel that way when you have an experience like that, especially with something that you care about. There are a lot of things that could have been done to make this a better movie, but I just don't think the director ever intended this to be a good movie in the way that we thought it would be a good movie. I think that he thought he made a good movie, but critics and audiences agree it was hot garbage. And wish I had a better review than this, but this is what it is. So that's going to be it for the one big thing. And we're going to be back with the look ahead for next week's episode. All right, back with the look ahead. Okay, I have a show, a couple of readings, and a video game that we're going to talk about. Okay, first off is a new anime called Dan Dan. I read a brief summary about it. I'm still not too sure what it's about. I did hear that the first episode was really good, so I'm gonna watch that. By the time the next episode comes, I believe there's 2 episodes out, so I should have watched 2 episodes of Dan Dan, and I can give you kind of review. We'll talk about that in the media minute next week. So I am excited about that. like I said, October is the start of a really good anime season. We have a bunch of other things that we're going to be looking ahead on in future episodes, but Dandadan is an anime that I am looking forward to watching. I believe there's two characters. One believes that aliens are real. One believes that ghosts are real, and they both believe the other one isn't. So the one who believes aliens is real doesn't believe in ghosts, and the one who believes in ghosts doesn't believe in aliens. And then they find out that both of them are real. So I believe they of them or gain some power, and they have to fight those forces. Is what I understand Dandadan to be about. Again, haven't seen it, but I'm very excited to watch it, and we will have a media minute part about Dandadan next week. Okay. Next thing I wanted to talk about is right here over my shoulder, and we picked up 3 new Green Lantern comics. Show them to you guys right here on screen. I know, great. And for you guys listening, you can't really see this. Go subscribe to the YouTube. Okay. We have DC Universe Rebirth, and this is Green Lantern, Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps #1. This is a variant cover, so looking for it, this is a variant cover. We have Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps #2. Again, this is another variant cover, so if you're looking for it, this is a variant. And then we have Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps Volume 3, or issue #3. And this, I believe, is the standard cover for this one. I couldn't find the variant. So we're going to read those. They're quick reads, but we're going to get through those 3. And we're going to have that in the media minute probably next week. I also have my John Stewart Green Lantern comic right here as well. Just repping Green Lantern pretty hard right now. But I went and picked those up because I haven't bought comics in a while, and Green Lantern's my favorite, so I figured why not start my guy, Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps. So that's going to be something that we're going to be reading and keeping up with that storyline going forward. I do want to be purchasing more comic books because along with me building my collection, I do want to start building up my comic book collection. And again, there's no better place to start than my favorite superhero, Green Lantern. So we picked up those 3. We're going to read those and talk about it in the media minute next week as well. The other thing we're going to be talking about in terms of reading is solo leveling. Now, if you were here for season #1, we talked heavy about solo leveling. Okay. The season 2 of the anime was supposed to come out in October. It's been pushed to January, which is fine with me because it gives me time to read volume 8. I have volume 9 ready as well, but we're not going to talk about that right now. We're going to read volume 8, and I'm probably going to update you guys when I get further along into the story. But the look ahead, we are going to be talking about solo leveling, volume 8, volume 9, and the whole story just in general, because I am in love with this story. Jen Woo Sung is a great main character. I love all the power sets. I love how the story is unfolding, and you think the story's about one thing, and then you get to a bigger mystery, and then kind of hovering in that bigger mystery, and while that mystery is unfolding, you get another one. So I'm really excited. I just picked up volume 8 and volume 9 not too long ago, around pretty much the same time I bought Tank Man, but I wanted to read Tank Man first before I sunk my teeth into volume 8 and volume 9 of Solo. So we got those on tap, ready to go. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about, something that's highly anticipated, video game, Dragon Ball Z Spark Zero. Okay. I wanted to talk about this thing last because there's a lot of emotions attached to this. Obviously, we had the passing of Akira Toriyama, the creator of Dragon Ball. So he isn't alive to see the absolute joy and excitement and hype that everyone has around this game and his characters that he created. Game is massive. It has, I think, like playable characters or something like that. Purchased the deluxe edition, so I do have early access. I will be playing it, and I will give you guys an update on how that's going. Spoiler alert, I'm not a very good gamer, but I enjoy playing games. So I anticipate a lot of enjoyment out of this. I haven't touched it yet. It is available for me now because I do have early access. but wanted to talk about it before I played it. But yeah, it's a lot of emotion. I grew all the way up with Dragon Ball, and yes, I said I grew all the way up with it. I've been watching the Dragon Ball franchise since I was 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe. Just want a quick story time. I was watching Dragon Ball Z on Cartoon Network, what was then Toonami. You would watch it on there, and what would happen is they would get the episodes from Japan, translate them into English, and they would only have a certain amount or they would only go to a certain point, right? So once you got to that certain point, they didn't have any more episodes, so they would just start over the run of episodes that they had. So you would basically watch the same episodes over and over and over again because they could only get to a certain point. Well, somehow my brother and I, when cable was still a thing, we were looking around on channels trying to find something, and we stumbled upon this foreign language channel, and it had Dragon Ball Z on it, and it was episodes that we had never seen before. So at that time, this channel was airing these episodes of Dragon Ball Z in Japanese with no subtitles. And so all you had to when you're watching the show, all you had was the raw emotion of the characters and what they're portraying on their faces, and kind of context of what's going on in the show to understand what's going on, because you obviously didn't understand them. And that's when I truly fell in love with Dragon Ball. That was right around the Cell Saga, when we had Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, which I had the Funko Pop for right over my shoulder, my Gohan area right there. That's my favorite character, is Gohan. He's always been my favorite character. Vegeta became one of my favorite characters in Dragon Ball later on. But from a youngster, Gohan was my favorite character. So just really cool to get this game that everybody is really excited for. It is a continuation of the Budokai Tenkaichi series, which was huge back in the day. Me and my brother broke many controllers playing that game in beam struggles. So Sparking Zero has a lot of memories and emotions tied to it because of the type of game that it is, because of like I said, the emotion, the memory that it brings out from those early times back in the day, playing Budokai Tenkaichi, and just the revival of a really hyped Dragon Ball game. And not to say there hasn't been other Dragon Ball Z games. There was Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. There was Verse 1 and 2. I know I'm missing a couple in between the Budokai series. And I played a couple of those, but they just didn't have that same, because Budokai Tenkaichi was the game. And I'm super excited to play it. I'm happy that everyone else is excited. And it is one of the most pre-ordered games this year. So it's got more pre-orders supposedly than the new Call of Duty, and that's crazy. See where this anime has started to where it is right now, to its growth in popularity and the longevity of it. Kind of, to be honest, kind of that similar longevity in One Piece, but it's different. It's different. You have Dragon Ball, you had Dragon Ball Z, you had Dragon Ball GT, you had Dragon Ball Super. Now you have Dragon Ball Daima coming out later on this month. To mention all the movies, all the different characters that people love. Ginyu, Frieza, Vegeta. RTN fans out there. Chaozu, our Chaozu fans out there. Krillin, 18. There's so many characters. It's just a joy to be able to play the game and to see everybody's excitement around the game and these characters. So I definitely wanted to touch on that in this episode, because I'm obviously excited for it. So that's gonna be it for the look ahead. And this is a nice episode. We had Joker was so disappointing. I'm sorry, I just gotta say it again. Joker was so disappointing, and I felt really bad having to give that review. But God, it was awful. The movie, man. But I don't know what the one big thing is gonna be next week. That's gonna be a surprise, because I haven't fleshed it out yet. I knew the first two episodes were going to be Joker 1 and Joker 2. I don't know what the one big thing is next week, so you guys are going to just have to be surprised about that. And I will see you guys next week. I appreciate you guys listening. Like, comment, subscribe, give the 5-star rating. Whatever you got to do for this podcast, it is greatly appreciated. Follow Dark Mamba on TikTok, Instagram, The YouTube, especially if you want to see this episode, is going to be on the Arm Dark Mamba YouTube for the video version. What else? Just thank everybody. I want to thank everybody. I say it every episode after every episode, but thank you guys. All the support is amazing, and hopefully we keep growing, keep getting better. We are working on the logo. We're working on the merch coming out. That's a very slow process because I want to make sure that everything that I put my name on going forward is exactly what I want it to be. So it's going to take a little bit, but when it does come, it's going to be from me. I decided that the logo, I'm going to design it myself as opposed to having someone else design it. All the new artwork and all that kind of stuff is all going to be from me, from my heart, because I have had other people do it before and try to relay my ideas to them, and it doesn't come out quite like I want it. So the only way to get something done right is to do it yourself. And